Welcome, 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 everybody, to another great episode of Real Life Matters. And of course, I am your host, DBoss, and I'm just wishing everybody a happy new year for 2025. I wish you all the best, and all the viewers who have been supporting me over the years. I wish you guys everything that you hope for. And I hope everybody's been doing their 15 minutes of laughing. You're not going to stop because that's part of your daily regimen. It releases all those endorphins off your body. It takes off the stress. It keeps your blood pressure low. It also warms up your voice for any speaking engagements. It's for all ages. It's good for your soul, and it's free. So, just do your 15 minutes or more of laughing. You can call somebody. You can do whatever you want to do. You can stream. There's so many streaming opportunities. You just don't have to sit there and say, oh, okay, you know what, D-Boss, I don't have anybody at all that I can do something with, because you can. So we're just here just to keep you updated on that. But right now, I have some coffee that's coming from a company here in Canada, and it's available on North America. And the owner is actually from Barbados. It's called Messiah Agriculture, and this is Messiah Rev Coffee. So anybody that wants to purchase any of this coffee, they can get the coffee. There's also other products, but right now I'm just showing you this. And it's a very good coffee to start your day off. And every proceeds that you get from this Messiah Rev coffee goes back into the development of Barbados. So if this is for a good cause, you guys can get the coffee. Start your morning off right. If you don't like coffee, well, they also have, which I've tried, this chai tea, and the chai tea is very good. So for people that like tea, they got maritime teas, different things, and then also for people that like the legacy brands, we also have the Marcus Garvey brand coffees, and this is the one that supports Jamaica. So any of the portion of the proceeds go, if you buy this kind of coffee, goes back into the development of Jamaica. So these coffees are really good brands, and you can get them through me through Messiah Agriculture, and I'll be doing an episode on those brands very shortly, and you guys are free to purchase them. So it's Messiah Agriculture is bringing those through. They're going to be bringing up a lot of products from Barbados here, so people can access these products and be able to have their products in their house, home away from home, and be at home. So you guys can just look out for that, and you could just ask me if you'd like to have any in your home. But today we got a multi-talented, vocalist, a multi-instrumentalist, an arranger, producer, recording artist, and performer. We're going to find out all about what he's done, all the things that he's accomplished. We're going to ask him what he knows now that he wish he knew back when he first started in his career, all those kinds of information, and you're going to get to know him up close and personal. So with no further ado, I introduce to you CHRIS ROUSE.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Well, here at Real Life Matters, we like to know everybody what their cultural background is. So if you could tell us.
My background? You want to know my background?
Your background. Your background. You can learn both.
Bayesian on my dad's side and Jamaican on my mom's side.
Whoa! So you got a little blend there. So you got me. So you got to get the two coffees then.
That's right. That's right.
Wow. Yeah. Well, okay. So you call yourself CHRIS ROUSE. That's your name that you go by. It's not a made up name. That's your name. Correct?
That's on my birth certificate. That's correct.
Okay. Well, you just never know. Some people been calling themselves different things, and then next thing you find out their name Danny or something. It's like, oh, okay.
That's true.
All right. So, Chris, what made you want to become a performer or an entertainer? Why did you want to? Is somebody in your family like that, or you just said, you know what, I'm going to get up and do this?
Well, my father is my first influence. He was always playing around the house on the piano and singing songs off the radio and singing in church choir. And, they put me in church choir as well, obviously, as a little youngin', little nappy-headed boy. So So that was my first influence, and that's what really, drove me to do it. And then professionally, uh, I was about 4 years old, and I saw young Michael Jackson on the Jackson variety show,
Okay.
which had Bill Cosby on that as well, by the way. um, so we're talking like 1974, maybe 75. Uh,
Okay.
Actually, it would have been 74 because we hadn't moved yet. Um, and Michael was maybe around 14 at the time, maybe 12 because it might have been a rerun. And he was singing and spinning, and I just remember thinking, stopping in my tracks and thinking, that's what I want to do.
Ah,
Yeah.
so you've been practicing. So you practice your dance move because you do a lot of stuff. So to dissect you down, so what you first started singing, and then you went into performing, or you did it all kind of in you know.
I'd say singing was the first thing.
Okay.
And again, that was mainly from my dad. My daddy was
Okay.
he was always singing around the house and singing in church choir, and he was he's still hanging out. We're still hanging out. Um,
Oh.
yeah, he's doing all right. And he had a way of singing all these different notes that weren't even in the main melody. He'd be singing the bass notes and the tenor and the baritone, and
Okay.
he would move around, and um, I learned from that because he had a way with harmonizing and with
Okay.
yeah, coming up with different melodies. So it was the vocal thing that really pulled me in first. Um,
Okay.
and like I said, with seeing and hearing Michael Jackson for the first time with the Jackson 5, and hearing all those harmonies and Michael's sweet angelic voice, and then of course Stevie Wonder, and everything that was happening, at the time. Seeing Stevie Wonder sing Superstition on Sesame Street was mind blowing.
Oh.
And that was in real time. That was, speaking of real real life matters. That was real time matters, because it was magical to see, all the Muppets, and all that, singing with Stevie Wonder on Sesame Street, and it seemed like it went on forever, and it was just magical. So those are some of my earliest memories. Hearing the music of Motown on the radio, and
Wow.
the Supremes, obviously, Diana Ross, the Supremes were huge at that time, and I was also hearing a lot of stuff from the Beatles and classic rock, and classic jazz, and everything was happening. It was, we were spoiled with the best music on the radio when I was a kid. So
Okay.
that's how it started, and then piano started to follow shortly thereafter, because my father also played the piano very
Okay.
well by ear, and he taught me just by letting me sit beside him and steal from him.
Okay. So you play that's the only musical instrument that you play, or
No, ma'am. I play a little guitar now, and a little bass, and a little drums as well. A little bit of everything. Yeah,
everything? You're all rounded here.
a little bit of everything. Not a lot. I'm still got a long way to go, but I'm getting there.
So what would you do different now that you know that back then when you first started?
Well, that's a great question. I would probably listen to my mother more. um, she would always, how moms will always steer you in the best way they know how, and everything that she did for me and said to me was always with love, and support. And so I would probably maybe follow some more of her advice. Things like, for example, she always used to say, be confident. You have to be confident. Confidence is everything, and will get you farther than you know. So you have to be confident, and be disciplined. She is extremely disciplined, and as a head nurse, for many years, she hired and fired. So she was a head boss. Speaking of D boss,
Mm.
she was D boss. Back in her day, yeah, from the 60s to the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, working at Mount Sinai in Toronto as a head nurse, hiring and firing,
Okay.
heading the staff. So she taught me a lot of those valuable lessons about discipline and responsibility and organization. And she always tried to instill that in me. To do my best to be to take pride in yourself and to be ambitious. And I guess all that to say, I wish I listened to her a lot more when I was younger, because because those
You didn't want
lessons,
to be too hard headed.
I didn't want to, I was a little too hard headed, so now, looking back, it took me a while to let those lessons sink in, and as I've gotten older, those lessons have echoed in my mind, and they're loud and clear now because I've put all of those lessons into practice over the past 20 to 30 years, and it's what has between her guidance and my father's influence, that combo, as well as all my iconic influences from Michael to Stevie to Prince to everyone in between and beyond. All of that accumulated to form who I am now, and I'm grateful for all of it.
Okay. So where do you do your creativity when you're writing your songs, or where do you get your, are you sitting in the backyard? Are you having a drink? Are you just rocking down the road? Where?
uh, that's a great question. It comes from everywhere, anytime, really.
Okay.
Yeah, inspiration strikes, when you least expect it. Usually that's when sometimes the best inspiration comes, when you least expect it. For example, it can come to you subconsciously in your dreams, and that's the way a few of my most well received songs have derived. A song called New Day
Okay.
on my debut sort of quasi release, not official release yet, but it will be soon.
Okay.
That I put up online on Bandcamp. I have a song called New Day, and that song speaks to so many people. I'm very grateful for how people seem to be moved by it, and that came to me from a dream, and it practically just wrote itself. So I know that
So you
I
remembered
had,
it,
yeah,
or
I
did
was
you have
lucky.
to get up and tape it, or what did you do?
That's exactly what I did. Yes, I did all those things. I did everything I could do. I did everything I could do to try to capture it, because you have to. If you don't honor the moment,
You
um,
lose it.
you lose it. You lose it. So I was lucky because it was loud and clear in my head. As I was stirring in bed, and I just jumped out of the bed, grabbed the first instrument
That's
near
awesome.
me, which happened to be my acoustic guitar, um, and I worked out the chords. I just fleshed out the chords that I was hearing along with the melody that I was hearing in my head. The lyrics weren't there for the verses, but the hook was there. Like the main chorus was there.
Okay.
All those lyrics were right there for the chorus and the main hook, and I knew it was something special, because of that, and I knew it had nothing to do with me. I knew that I was just being a vessel or a platform for I guess God's voice through all my
Yes.
influences. you know um, so yeah, as far as inspiration and how it strikes, it can, that's one way, or sometimes it can happen just by yeah, as you said earlier, just walking around. You can be walking on your way out to a function, or on your way to work, or just going for a jog or whatever, out of the beach, like, it's very inspiring. And
A lot of people like that when at the beach.
yeah, that's the most inspiring sometimes. And if you get an idea, like, I'll just pick up my nowadays it's my phone. Back, when in the 70s and 80s, it was a tape recorder on actual
Yes.
tape. But now, we use whatever device we have ready, and now it's me recording voice memos of melodies, and sometimes it's just scatting, just random gibberish. um,
Oh,
but the melody is there and the feel is there, and once that's recorded, I'll just store it and save it, and listen back to it later, and with fresh ears, and and add music to it, add the bass and the guitar and keys and and lyrics as well. So that's how it can happen anyway, but that's just a couple of different ways it can happen.
Okay. So who have you worked with and opened for?
Wow, how much time you got?
We
That's
got time.
that's a loaded question. Okay, well, one of my earliest memories, um, that really meant a lot to me and still means a great deal to me was, the opportunity to open up, with a vocal group I was with when I first, started on the Toronto scene. We were called Time Bends. We were called Ocean, and then we changed the name to
Okay.
Time Bends, and we got signed as Othello. But just to back up, for a bit, in the '90s, around circa, I don't know, 90 mid '90s, let's say,
Okay.
earlier mid '90s, we were lucky. It was a four person vocal group, and we were lucky, thanks to our management, who was very clever, to get us situated, opening up for Natalie Cole, the late great Natalie Cole.
Wow.
Yeah, that was when she had her comeback tour, doing the duets with her father, with Nat King Cole. That digital recording where they magically reunited them for the album. So she was blown up again, and touring the world, and we got lucky. Our manager at the time connected with her management when she was coming to the Ontario Place Forum, which I don't think it exists anymore. I think they got rid of it, which is so sad. But
Yeah, I used to like it over there too.
yeah, you remember that spot too. Yeah, beautiful venue in the round. It was just magical in the summertime. Just sitting out in the grass. You get in free with the park admission, which was like at that time it was. I
I
think it was
saw
like,
Cool and the Gang there. I saw so many
yeah.
people.
So did I. Yeah, that was a great show. Yeah. Um, yeah, so that was one of those shows in the round, on the stage, and she was amazing. And but before she performed, we were lucky to open for her, and I will never forget the reaction of the crowd, because at that time, this is again early mid '90s, um, nobody was doing what we were doing in Toronto, Canada, or in Canada, period.
Hmm.
In the States, we had just we just gotten through the '80s with New Edition and their success, and then all the boy bands started to pop up. Boys to Men kind of leading the way, for the black groups, and then of course with the white groups, that they started to try to catch up with NSYNC, and well, New Kids on the Block first, and then NSYNC, and all of them. So we were the only ones.
Blackstreet.
Yeah, well, yeah, much later. Yeah, Blackstreet, definitely Blackstreet on the back end for sure.
After
But
seven. All them.
yeah, oh, After Seven was, yeah, man, magical. So
Yeah.
we were the only group out of Canada, period, that that was reminiscent of anything like that, that was doing anything like that with four-part harmony, and for reasonably attractive young men, um, you know, doing our thing and dancing and singing, and we also played our own instruments as well, which is something that, uh,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So it was a really magical time, and this is long before the internet, as so people just by word of mouth would hear about us, and people. It was an exciting time. Um,
Right.
yeah, so the Natalie Cole opener was everything. Um, yeah, and around that time we also opened up for Karen White, Superwoman. That when she was blowing up with Superwoman, and that was nice. That was at a club called Superstars, in Mississauga. I don't
Okay.
I don't think it exists anymore,
No.
but
Toronto.
yeah. So there's been a few. Yeah.
Well, as everybody can see here, that you're well rounded and well a veteran. This is a veteran here, people. We're
Oh,
talking to.
God bless you.
So, so if you had the opportunity to do a collaboration with somebody or any artist of any genre, which three would you want to do it with? That you haven't done with.
And are they alive or do they have to be alive?
Well, well, we try. If you know, if you want to, you could mention something like that.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do a list of 3 who are alive and a list of 3 who are unalive.
Or not alive. Okay.
So 3 alive would be top 3 alive collaborations would be Stevie Wonder, Paul McCartney, and this is tricky because now we're on number 3 and this is all I got. Whew. Oh man, I want to say Shaka Khan. I want to say, you know, I want to say D'Angelo.
Okay.
But I think I have to keep it old
Well, you
school.
could keep it in the 4. You could just say those ones. You already said it. So
No, I gotta. I like to.
it's a bit tricky, people, because you already said
No, I like to play. I
he
like
said
to
it out
play.
loud. So everybody knows Shaka Khan, D'Angelo. Okay.
No,
So now the
I'll
3.
play fair. I like to play fair. So
Okay.
no cheating. I'm not a cheater. So
All right. We
so
know you're not, but everybody can get it in.
so I'll say Stevie, Paul McCartney, and Stevie, Paul McCartney, and Sly Stone. Sly Stone. Yeah. Sylvester
Okay.
Stewart, aka Sly Stone. He's still with us. He's still with us and he's one of my biggest and best, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the 3 that are not alive?
3 who are no longer with us. Prince, number 1.
Mm-hmm. Michael Jackson.
Oh, well, you are correct. You are correct. I was gonna get there, but, but you are correct. He has to be on the list. Yeah, Michael, of course. And then number 3, uh, that's a
Rick
oh man.
James.
Ah, you know, I love Rick James, and who doesn't? I love Rick James, but I there are others that I would think of before him. With all due respect, so
Okay.
you'd have to make the list like a top 10
Okay.
for me to fit Slick Rick on it. But I think the third one would have to be. Oh wow, that's really difficult. It's a toss up between Jimi Hendrix and Donny Hathaway. Um,
Okay.
I'm gonna have to say Jimmy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because you never know here, people reach out to people.
Yes, ma'am.
So you just never know.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I got you here. I got some of your music here. So you're going to tell us about some of the. I have this one called, what is it called? The Arrival?
Yes.
AROuSAL, The Arrival?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so tell us about that before we
Well,
play it.
yes. Well, Arrival is the name of the album, which
Right.
again,
Oh, that's it. Okay, that's the new album, right?
well, to those who haven't heard it, yeah, uh,
Okay.
yeah, I put it out, sort of just to put something out, a while ago, and
Okay.
yeah, and it was just my way of putting out demos that I was working on for a while, who everyone was asking me to release, and and I didn't feel ready because I didn't have a team at the time. I didn't have a management team or any kind of support team
Oh,
except for my close friends,
okay.
um, and then I thought, you know what, I just got to put it out, so it's not on iTunes. I never went to labels. I never went to iTunes.
Okay.
I didn't do Spotify didn't exist when I put that out. um it was just
Okay.
Bandcamp and SoundCloud, were the 2 streaming sites, and I think Napster, and you know like that, iTunes obviously. So but I didn't
This
even
was New Day. This one is New Day.
New Day is the lead off song on a 12 song album. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. So you want to hear this one?
If you would like to hear it, I would like to hear it. Sure.
This is what we do here. That's why
Uh,
we don't show the video. We show this so that people can go to your YouTube channel or your music to go stream it and buy it so you can get in the ratings. So
I
here we go,
appreciate it.
people. New Day by CHRIS ROUSE.
If the world stops, may all that you've got be a smile upon your face, the kind of time could never erase or turn upside down. Mm-hmm. Sometimes hearts break and destiny takes you away from the world you once knew. You wonder how this could happen to you, but take a good look around. You'll be sure that you found it's a new day, a new day, and I'm only glad I can be, yeah, a part of a new day, a new day, and I'm only happy to see the start of a new day. A new day. La da dee ya 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 ya. The clouds seem to part, but deep in your heart, you could swear that you drown from the rain. Yeah. So you.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
You could sing that to me any day.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
Wow. That sounds so good.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to listen to it after.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. The voice, the music, everything just goes right in.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my gosh. People, that's Barbadian. That's Barbados and products. Come on. That
yeah, it's in there.
the good things come on from Barbados, I tell you.
Thank you.
All right. So tell us about this one now. Soul Beautiful.
Wow, so beautiful. Excuse me, so beautiful. Means a lot to me because uh, it was the very first song that I recorded when I started my solo career. Once I left the group, the vocal group I was telling you about earlier. Uh,
Okay.
after we got signed and then we got dropped, and due to the Warner EMI AOL merger in 1999. Signed in 99, dropped in 2000. So just like that, gone. And I was, went through a little depression,
Mm.
um, it was difficult after shopping in Canada for 10 years, basically, um, to no avail. Except for the few openers that we had, like I mentioned. Um, and then the states picked us up, and that was unprecedented for the time for an R&B act out of Toronto, um, like an R&B vocal group. Obviously Billy Newton Davis had some shine for a minute, and Errol Starr and some great talent, but there was nothing that got signed by an American label. Um, you know, uh, Deborah Cox, you know, I think
Mm-hmm.
she was doing some things, and so as a female artist, we had her, and we had Tamia, of course. um you know, so there were a few like solo artists like them, but there was no vocal group. You know, there was no like harmony group like a Boys to Men or anything like that, and we were the only ones out of Toronto doing anything like this. So when we got signed to the States in '99, it was Epic Sony at first, and then our Epic guy lost his deal, sadly, and he took mercy on us and sent us over to Warner direct, and then we were mind blown. We were, you know, here it was, we were thinking that it was the end, and then it just got better, or so we thought, you know, because even though we were now signed directly to, you know, Prince's label and Madonna's label and, you know, some of our favorite artists label, directly to Warner, little did we know that a few months later, as we were practicing in the basement, you know, for the tour that they were going to put us on to promote the album, which was recorded in New York. We went, they flew us out to New York after we got signed and put us in a condo and had us recording in Manhattan. And it was exciting. And it was like our dreams. We thought our dreams had come true. And, and then a few months in, when we got back to Toronto, I was the first one that saw the news on CNN and also in the Globe and Mail and Toronto Star. It was front page news that EMI, AOL, and Warner,
Mm.
Time Warner, were merging. And this was an unprecedented merger in not just the entertainment industry, not just the music industry, but in all of business. And this was basically the birth of the internet, America Online, AOL, right? So,
Okay.
yeah, so basically the internet killed us.
Okay.
The internet was born, and we died. So, signed in '99, dropped in 2000, and our manager just, I brought it up to the group, and they said, "Oh man, it's nothing to worry about, or whatever." And we spoke to our manager, and he said, "Oh, don't worry about it. That'll only affect the higher ups. That's not going to affect you. Don't worry about it." And, and sure enough, a few months
It
later,
did.
while we were practicing, he gave us a call and said, "Hey guys, we're all sweaty. You know, we're like singing our butts off and dancing, getting the choreography tight because we're scheduled to do a handshake tour across America in the high schools, right?
Right.
And in advance of the album release, and in conjunction with the release of a single, the first single from that album, and then our manager just told us, you know, when we were pretty much, you know, ready to go, sorry guys, you know, you were right, it's not going to happen. You know, our A&R guy lost his shirt, and then there were 30 acts that were signed under him, and we were one of the 30 that got dropped, you know.
Oh gosh.
Just like that. Had nothing to do with talent, any energy, or anything like that. Nothing personal. It was all just business. And yeah, we were one of the 30 that got dropped from that A&R guy, our A&R guy alone. There were others that were already signed, other people who were already signed to Warner, like ERRBoDY, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, for artists like that, they had uh, they had to take pause, but luckily they didn't get dropped. They just got shelved indefinitely until the merger dust settled. So, you know, ERRBoDY had to wait for a minute, but then he was able to continue once the dust settled. Whereas
Okay.
we didn't have that luxury because we literally just got signed right before the
Oh
merger,
my gosh.
right? So just bad timing, bad luck. Point is that after that, in 2000, between that and heading into 2001, you know, we all went through some sadness, and I was really depressed. And I was invited to go uh, overseas to do like an overseas live performance uh, gig, you know, like just basically a jam band at some hotels and stuff like that overseas in Indonesia, Jakarta, Indonesia. So, and that was from some other friends of mine. I went to Indonesia, Jakarta, Indonesia, and played in that band, just covers, just doing the working musician thing, playing keys, singing, trying to make some, make back some money. And
Okay.
and one of my best friends who I met during the 90s, he called me while I was out there near the back end of that contract, which was like a 3-year contract, but 3-month contract, and I stayed for 5 months because I loved it so much.
Okay.
And he said to me, Chris, you've got to come home, mate. He's British, and he's a sweet cat, one of my best friends ever, and one of the most beautiful spirits on the planet. And he always believed in me, and he just said, you got to come home and work on your record now.
Okay.
You spent 10 years working on a group record, it didn't work out. Now you have to do your own thing finally. And so he wrote this song called So Beautiful with another young producer that he had met, named Colin Monroe. um, and my buddy's name is Cesaro Grand. He's a genius, and he wrote the lyrics. He co-wrote the lyrics with Colin, but wrote most of it, like about 90%, I would say.
Okay.
And yeah, and he co-produced it with Colin. Colin had the music going um, already, and Colin Monroe, he seemed to be in the same headspace musically as Cesaro and myself. Really kind of quirky, funky, unique, alternative R&B, like really, you can even call it R&B, just like really unique,
Okay.
but with a soulful vibe to it. And he knew that it would be up my alley because it had this Princey kind of thing to it. And he just, he just basically begged me to come home. and
Okay.
um, and so my contract was up, my visitation was up after the 5 months, and I came back home, and that was the first song that I started working on for that album, and
Okay.
I was just so grateful, and still am to this day. And
All right. So
again, it's big thanks
let's
to
hear
Cesar.
this.
Yeah.
All right. So beautiful.
And my life, glad I found you. Rich blessing, was you brave? Love has found you. Love we see, feel complete. Love will shine. Breathe me in. I feel so new. Why so sure? Love is pure. Why so fair? I share. I love you. Speechless bliss. Lips believe that our world make me feel so, make me feel so, make me feel so, make me feel so beautiful. Don't go nowhere, stay right here, 'cause I need you. Pressing peace, so relief from what's out there. You fit my mind and my heart, and never had to. You made me see who I be, and I thank you. Make me feel so beautiful, so beautiful.
Wow.
Mhm.
You think I'm joking? I'm going to listen to this when I finish from there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
good. So tell us about now. What's this one here? The freddiness, arrival, noise or something.
Everybody knows.
Everybody, yeah, everybody knows. Okay.
can,
I guess I didn't write it. That's what I was
can I
kind of
can
like.
I just can I just say something about that
Yes.
last song?
Yes.
One thing that another reason why that song means even more to me is because not only was it the lead off song to build the whole album and the start of my solo career, thanks to Cesaro Grant, my best buddy, and Colin Monroe, the genius of his production.
Okay.
But it was that lyrically and spiritually, the song speaks of different kinds of love and beauty from the inside out, as opposed to just aesthetic beauty, but rather loving the skin that you're in, loving each other from the soul, like
Uh-uh.
seeing the beauty of the soul and loving that in yourself, in each other, and also recognizing the beauty of God's love as well. Um, so sort of connecting all of those dots into one thing, what is soul beautiful, instead of saying so beautiful, well, it's soul beautiful. And that was something that Cesaro came up with.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's always meant a lot to me to support his vision lyrically, um, and it happened to coincide with my beliefs as well, and that's why it means so much to me.
Okay. So
Yeah.
tell us about Nobody Knows.
Oh, everybody knows.
Everybody
uh,
knows.
yeah.
Everybody knows. Yeah.
um, yeah, everybody knows was is a song that I deliberately wrote for everybody. I wanted to write a song that was a lot more basic, so to speak. I know that's sort of a throwaway word these days. A lot of people say, "Oh, this is basic" or whatever. And I guess that's the way I could look at it, but not in the negative sense, but rather in a positive
Yes.
sense. That I wanted to write something that was simple and easily digestible for everyone. In the tradition of Sly Stone. Uh, like Everyday People. By Sly Stone, Sylvester. Sly and the Family Stone.
Yes.
Channeling that kind of so that was a huge inspiration for that song. Is channeling my a lot of my heroes like Sly Stone and Marvin Gaye and that sort of thing. Just really simple songwriting. Even like young Stevie, like little Stevie. um, and yeah, it's just a simple song about how we're all the same and how we all have a lot of um, things that keep us uh, in the same breath of existence. Things that keep us just like everyday people.
Okay.
So that's kind of the vibe. It's just a
All right.
song for the people.
Okay. Everybody knows. Here we go.
Brothers and sisters, mamas and papas, straight hair and nappy hair, play hair. Now everybody knows everybody loves somebody. Everybody knows everybody needs somebody to love. Everybody knows that from the highs to the lows, from your head to your toes, we are all the same, I suppose. Same. Everybody knows the pain was a good thing. Everybody knows the pain of a mistake. Everybody knows the difference between what's right and what's wrong. And everybody knows the sweet song of mercy. And everybody knows the ding dong of Mary. And if you don't know the words, it's alright. Just sing along. Everybody. Life's joy is sorrow. Oh, yeah. Up and down. Life's come what may. Everybody. Always tomorrow. Life's everything. Yeah. the taste of sweet morning love.
Woo, that one is good too.
Thank you.
I tell you, the music is it's you got it. You got it.
Oh,
You
thank you so
got it.
much. I
So what's
appreciate it.
so you said earlier that you're working on a new EP, right?
Well, I'm working on officially releasing that music properly, which I've
Okay.
never done.
Okay.
I've never approached labels. I've never released on Spotify,
Okay.
or even iTunes or anything. So basically, the goal is to finish that product and
Okay.
project um, as a 3 album master release, so
Okay.
which is on, which I haven't known of any debut artist on the scene to release a three CD album or a 3 album release.
Okay.
um,
Well,
and
let you be
that's
the first one, Chris.
I want to be the first. Yeah, I want to be the first to do it like that. And that will, the goal would be to let that tide me over for at least a few years while I
Okay.
then release the next batch, which I've been writing over the past 20 years or so.
Okay.
um yeah, especially over the past like four
Well, you
years
got to come back. You got to come back with some more of these songs here,
I
because
will.
everybody like to see those. Because the
Oh,
music is so good.
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So you have any shout outs that you want to give to your people?
Sure. Well, you heard one already. The soul beautiful Cesaro Grant, one of my best buddies,
Yes.
brother for life, um, brother from another mother, as we say.
Okay.
uh, yeah, he's been very, very, very pivotal and impactful in my uh, solo career and in my music career in general and in my life in general.
Okay.
And by the way, I want to say that not only has he been uh, so impactful to me in huge ways, musically and spiritually, um, and as just a friend and as a support in every way, but also to many artists on the Toronto and Canadian music scene, and worldwide even. He has influenced so many people, and for me, he's one of the best kept secrets um, of genius, pure brilliance, and pure humble genius um,
Okay.
in the industry. He basically is the one reason why we know the name Glenn Lewis in the public. For those who know, if you know, you know, as they say. He helped to put Glenn Lewis on the map by giving him a chance to go out to England and record some music. And when Glenn was on his long before he became a public name, when he was working on his demo and that sort of thing, and had fallen on hard times, Cesaro had done his best to lift him up and keep pushing him and say, "No, you can do it, mate. You just gotta shake off this Toronto nonsense." And 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 that's what led him to to go to the UK and do some recording there and do some networking and get his mojo back. And then eventually from the UK, he then went off to Philly, and that's how he got his deal. That's when he got his deal with Sony and Dre and Vi producing,
Okay.
um, and then the next thing you know, we had Glenn Lewis, taking over the world with "World Outside My Window" and becoming Stevie Wonder's friend and opening up for Prince, and,
Yes.
and all this kind of, opening up for Alicia Keys on her tour, and that
Okay.
all that success that Glenn Lewis achieved. And by the way, I'm not undermining Glenn's talent, because
No.
Glenn is a genius. Glenn is one of my good friends as well, and he's a genius in his own right, and that goes out saying for those who know. He's a brilliant, one of the most underrated genius vocalists and artists on the scene. Um, so that's a given for those who know. But for those who don't know, uh, when Glenn was down for a minute, it was Cesaro that picked him back up and lifted him up high and helped him to get to where he got. So I
Okay.
want people to know that because people need to know that truth. And many others. Divine Brown, if you know that name, the genius, brilliant, beautiful Divine Brown, amazing female vocalist on the scene. He also helped to push her and get her connected with that same producer, Colin Monroe, who worked on my stuff. Ray Robinson, for those who don't know, another best kept secret in Toronto. I mean, he had a certain amount of success, but he's definitely worthy of so much more. Um, he helped in that project, did some writing and co-production on that album. Colin Monroe himself, the producer, he helped to basically get Colin, working and introduce him to all of these artists like myself and Glenn and Ray Robinson and Divine and Carlos Morgan, Juno Award-winning Carlos Morgan.
Yes,
Um,
he's been on here.
Okay, yeah, so that's another one of my best friends and brothers for life, brothers from another mother. So
Right.
Cesaro has helped all of us, all the people
Okay.
that, some of whom you've probably already interviewed and maybe know on the scene. So, people know these names and know their qualitative work in great part due to Cesaro Grant's love and
Right.
support. So I really want to give an extra big shout out to him.
All right.
And also his wife, by the way, who is
Okay.
another one of my best friends, and she's an awesome vocalist. Her name's Kiara Leah, and she is brilliant, a brilliant artist in her own right. She's definitely on the rise.
Okay.
She's another best kept secret, and yeah, and she's doing some big things. We just released her debut CD or EP rather, and she was kind enough to ask me to co-produce that with her. Um,
Okay.
and so that's something I take great pride in. I love her and I'm proud of her. And she's a brilliant vocalist, beautiful voice like an angel, and she's a brilliant keyboardist.
Okay.
And yeah, so she's definitely doing some things, and
Okay.
you got to look out for her. And
All
then
right. So if
yeah,
people want to like they want to find you on your social media, it's your name, right? Or you could just tell us quickly before we go.
yes, it's just my name for now. That may change.
Ah,
Um, I'm not going to pull a Prince and use an unrecognizable, unpronounceable symbol, but
okay.
I won't do that. It won't change that much. But um, right now, I'm just going with CHRIS ROUSE. But it may be something different. I'll just say that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you got to come back. I invite you to come back again, and you could go into everybody. This is the legendary Chris Rouse, and he's told us about his career and going, and the ups and downs. He basically covered everything today, and yeah. But when he comes back again, he'll be, now you get to know who he is, and for people that don't know him. So, you just tune in. So I do want to thank the audience, and I do want to thank Chris Ross for telling us your story up close, personal, and all the people that you've worked with. I really appreciate that. So,
Oh,
I welcome you to come back, as I said before. So good night and bye for now, everybody.
thank you.